The crown prince and I grew up together. He once said he'd marry me, but before the wedding, he gave the main wife's bridal dress to my half-sister, and gave me the concubine's bridal dress. Later on, she begged to make me his main wife. I turned around and married his imperial uncle instead. My lady, come quick and see. The Eastern Palace just sent over the bridal dress. The maid Harper lifted the cover, only to find the bridal dress wasn't bright red. Was there a mistake? How could the crown princess's dress possibly be pink? The palace maid said. Your Highness said second miss is already pregnant and hopes first miss can understand and give up the main wife's position to her. Our Highness wants the first royal grandson from the Eastern Palace to be legitimate. Harper was so shocked she couldn't speak. I stepped forward and said, this dress isn't suitable. Take it back. The palace maid knelt. My lady, please calm down. This marriage was granted by His Majesty. If you refuse to marry, that's defying an imperial decree. I had already turned away. Even if defying an imperial decree means wiping out 9 generations, it won't touch you. Just go deliver the message. The crown prince is the legitimate son born of the empress. Back then, to ensure the empress gave birth to a legitimate eldest son, the emperor didn't take in other concubines until the crown prince was born. I entered the palace young to serve the empress. When she passed away, she tried to have me granted the title of princess, but my father declined. The crown prince and I grew up together as childhood sweethearts, knowing each other inside and out. He knew I was gentle and understood the bigger picture. That's the only reason he dared to make such an outrageous request. Not sweating the small stuff doesn't mean I'm easy to bully. Letting some concubine-born girl climb over me and become my mistress, not even in the next life. I went to father and told him everything. Father was furious. So their royal family's legitimate heirs count, but ours in the Yu clan don't. Father wrote a letter and had someone send it to the crown prince's residence. It said, if the crown prince insists on this, then I have no choice but to ask His Majesty to intervene. By evening, the crown prince came looking for me, but I didn't want to have a private talk with him. So I stood in the courtyard with my young servant and maid. Why has your highness come? Don't play dumb. You knew full well that if others found out Meyer was pregnant before marriage, she'd be drowned in a pig cage. And you still went and told your father. I replied calmly. If you don't want people to know, then don't do it. He snapped. Yu Yunsheng, you're always so kind and gentle. A model of virtue and decency. Was that all fake? Meyer is your own little sister. I wonder if, in the crown prince's eyes, my dear little sister ever truly saw me as her older sister. The crown prince rushed to say, she always speaks well of you. This is how you repay her. You must be joking. Your Highness, if she really meant it, how could she possibly be scheming to take my place? He looked at me with red eyes, carrying a hint of pleading. The dignified legitimate crown prince, usually suave and charismatic, strategizing flawlessly in the court hall, turns out to be so clueless when it comes to love. I stood quietly in place and just listened to him say, Violet, making her the primary wife was my idea. I just wanted to have a child with the one I love. If she can be the primary wife, the late emperor would never allow the child to be born first. Violet, don't you love me? Can't you sacrifice a little for me? I promise, after you marry me, even as a concubine, I'll never let anyone look down on you. You'll only need to serve tea to Meyer. You won't have to do any duties of the main wife. The more he spoke, the more worked up he got. Afraid I'd refuse, he even took a step forward, trying to grab me. I stepped back, and the servants instantly formed a human wall, blocking the crown prince. Violet, what do you mean by this? I looked at him and gave a proper bow. Your Highness, I am not you, Julia. I cannot engage in secret exchanges. Please conduct yourself with dignity. Today, I will pretend that your Highness never came. He called my name outside the room. No one dared to drive him away. Let him call then. As long as he still thinks of himself as a gentleman, he won't barge into my boudoir. At nightfall, Father rode a carriage into the Imperial Palace. There are gate restrictions at the Imperial Palace, but my father also has a command token personally granted by the Emperor. When Father returned, Mother and I were both waiting in the main hall. His Majesty agreed to call off the engagement, but demanded that we deal with you, Julia. Someone like her cannot be allowed into the Imperial family. Dad, defying an Imperial decree. His Majesty blame us for that, Father said. Your second uncle once saved the Emperor before the throne and died tragically under the blades of traitors. That is our ironclad amnesty, but you must understand, it can only be used once. Don't worry, Father, your daughter will never look back. Father, just leave you Julia to me. I sent someone to tie up you Julia and sink her in the river, but halfway through, a friend of the crown prince intercepted us. It was the heir left in the capital city by Prince Dingyuan, also a hostage prince. His name is Ning Huaiyan. Not only did he arrogantly save you Julia, but he even brought people to injure the servants and cudgel slaves in my residence, stirring up trouble right in front of me. I want to see how dark-hearted the legitimate daughter of the Yu residence is. She would even try to drown her own pregnant little sister. He hadn't even arrived yet, but his racket sure did. I lightly put down the teacup in my hand, glanced at him mildly, and deliberately took my time before standing up to greet him. Heir apparent, what an impressive presence. Your grand arrival even outshines the crown prince himself. You, he pointed at me, quit stirring up trouble here, please calm down. Your lordship, may I ask what I, Yu Yunsheng, have done to offend you, that you beat my household's people like this? The implication being, what does my matter with my younger sister and the crown prince have to do with him? Miss you, you're really something. Your sister isn't carrying an ordinary man's child, but the crown prince's, the emperor's grandchild. Let me ask you, who do you think you are, to decide whether they live or die? He spoke with cadence and flourish, but to me, it was just someone being relentless when they thought they were right, though what he had was a twisted sense of right. I scoffed lightly, but my tone was calm. Even the Son of Heaven must face justice like a commoner. In just a few words, your lordship paints you Julia as innocent and me, a minister's daughter, as malicious. But did you Julia consider the Yu clan's century-old good name before committing such disgraceful acts? He thinks he's protecting some delicate little flower, but he doesn't realize that this flower's heart is dark, laced with poison. Originally, the matter with you Julia could have been quietly resolved, but she first misbehaved, then ran to your lordship for help, stirring up even more drama, and now the whole city is in an uproar. She'd rather hurt herself by 1,000 to harm others by 800, and she pulled it off. From now on, the women of the Yu clan will struggle to have even a decent reputation. If I had known she'd repay kindness with betrayal, I wouldn't have saved her back then. Our dynasty's laws regarding taking concubines or keeping mistresses are super lax. Anyone with a bit of skill can take a few concubines. My father was relatively well behaved, but back then he was set up, and ended up leaving a seed in a singer. When the singer showed up at the Yu residence with her daughter, my father kicked them out. That singer then went around saying my father seduced and abandoned her, crying about her poor daughter not having enough to eat, while my father's precious daughter was dripping in gold and jewels. My father wanted to kill them to eliminate future trouble, but I really wanted a little sister. Mother's health wasn't great, and after giving birth to my brother and me, she couldn't have more children. Father doted on me, so he allowed them into the household. They didn't see it as my kindness at all, constantly offended me, even pinned their own dirty deeds on me. You Julia was really little back then, like a baby chick, already on track to be as rotten as her mom. I secretly had her mother beaten to death, but kept her, raised her properly like a concubine, born young lady. She held a grudge and tampered with my mother's food. When I found out, she cried and yelled, "You killed my mom, so I'm gonna make you feel what it's like to be motherless too." Very well. From then on, she became a servant in the residence. My dad wanted to kill her, but I spared her, because I always felt that as the only daughter of the Yu clan, she was still useful. Maybe she could shield me from something. Ning Huaiyan caught my implication and stayed silent for a while. Even though he already realized he was being used, he couldn't swallow it in front of others, so I asked the servants to invite him to sit in the front hall, pretending he was here to visit my dad. Your Highness, since ancient times, it's been said that even heroes fall for beauties. You and the crown prince were both fooled by you Julia, not because she was so clever, but because gentlemen like you see what they want to see. He turned back to look at me, a hint of admiration in his eyes. When my dad came back, he brought along a eunuch from the Imperial palace. The eunuch delivered His Majesty's verbal decree, summoning me to the palace for an audience. The door to the Imperial study was closed. The crown prince and I knelt on opposite sides. The emperor adjusted his robe and said casually, "This Yu Julia matter has stirred up the entire city. Violet, your handling wasn't exactly graceful, but I won't blame you." I just kowtowed, saying nothing. He continued, "The root of this lies with the crown prince. Favoring a woman isn't such a big deal, but you knew Yu Julia was from the Yu clan and still fell for her beauty trap." The crown prince quickly responded, "Your Majesty, Yu Julia didn't use any tricks." The emperor suddenly slammed the cup down. Shards flew everywhere and cut my hand. I quickly pulled down my sleeve to cover it. "I haven't finished speaking. Why are you interrupting?" he roared, then turned to me and spoke gently. "Violet, are you hurt?" I bowed deeply, replying to His Majesty, "I am unharmed." The crown prince wiped the blood from his forehead with his sleeve and didn't dare say another word. You're the crown prince. Even something like taking a concubine, let alone marriage, is no small matter. It's not up to you to decide. The emperor slapped the table, face grim. And you dare switch wives on your own, crown prince. If you truly want to act freely, then maybe you shouldn't be crown prince anymore. I'll strip you of your title and leave you to your own devices. Upon hearing this, the crown prince turned pale with shock. Your Majesty, the emperor sneered. Now you realize your mistake. Kneel, and don't get up until you've thought it through. Violet, rise and take a seat. Night fell. The eunuch came to ask His Majesty to review memorials. The emperor just waved his hand. Eyes never leaving the documents. The head eunuch stepped forward and said, Your Majesty, it's been 3 months since you last visited the harem. The emperor said calmly, Say no more. I'm buried in state affairs. I have no time for such distractions. The candle popped loudly, startling the crown prince. By midnight, the crown prince had already been kneeling for 4 hours. The emperor put down his vermilion brush. No dinner either. Violet must be hungry. Shue de bao, go get some light food over here. A small table was set up in the Imperial study. I sat beside the emperor, dining together. I felt this favor was a bit too much. He smiled. No need to be nervous. Poor me, no daughter, and the only arranged daughter. Law fell through too. I carefully replied. All the people under heaven are your Majesty's subjects. He stood up, walked back to sit on the dragon throne, and sighed. Violet is right. Even you understand this principle. But he, as the crown prince, doesn't he? The crown prince must have already been exhausted, but hearing this, he still immediately kowtowed. Then, His Majesty said, Since things have come to this, let her be a concubine. You Julia is carrying a daughter, crown prince, remember that. What the emperor meant was, even if it's not a daughter, it still has to be a daughter. After that move, the crown prince was grounded for a month. You Julia was carried into the eastern palace in a small sedan, with no ceremony whatsoever. It said the crown prince never went to see you Julia, not even once. He already understood that if he wanted to keep his title as crown prince, he must never make the same mistake again. A few months later, you Julia gave birth prematurely. They say the nanny from the Empress Dowager's side personally oversaw the delivery. The moment that child started crying, it was silenced, completely still. Stillborns don't get recorded, and a dead concubine isn't much of a big deal either. I knelt before the Buddha and bowed my head to the ground. She brought it all upon herself. It wasn't this devotee scheming intentionally. The slight respect she had from being backed by the Yu clan gave you Julia ambitions she shouldn't have had. Then she slapped my face in the name of the crown prince. I played along, turning it around so she embarrassed the royal family instead. As the legitimate eldest daughter of the Yu clan, I was never the one to take the fall. I rose from before the Buddha and stepped into the moonlight. I knew His Majesty wouldn't depose the crown prince over some petty love drama, but the crown prince isn't mine, and I have to replace him. A bright moon hung in the sky when suddenly, an eagle soared past. Maid Zhou explained, That's probably Princess Lingyue's pet. She supposedly takes it everywhere. Something that wild and untamable. Can she really handle it? On the 16th of August, Princess Consort Ning hosted a chrysanthemum viewing banquet. The honored guests included Prince Yuan and Consort Li. Prince Yuan was born of the late emperor's favorite consort. On his deathbed, the emperor intended to pass the throne to him, but the ministers shut that down. Consort Li is the current His Majesty's favorite consort. The fact that Consort Li was invited outside the palace shows just how much sway Princess Consort Ning has. I'm sitting in the first seat among the ladies. Out of the corner of my eye, I can catch Princess Lingyue's indignant glare, but I didn't arrange the seats, so don't blame me. Starting from me and behind, the seats are arranged according to the ranks of princesses, county princesses, and officials' daughters. Consort Li is young and loves to play, so the banquet is centered around her, featuring games like pitch, pot and archery that she enjoys. Right now, Consort Li is playing pitch, pot under the autumn sun, with Princess Consort Ning and a few young ladies accompanying her. I'm standing in the archery area. There's only one bow hanging there, the rest have already been taken by others. Just as I'm about to grab it, Princess Lingyue's hand reaches out too. Neither of us takes it. Instead, we just stare at each other. Suddenly, with the cry of an eagle, a giant eagle appears in the sky, blocking the sun and casting a huge shadow. As everyone panics, Princess Lingyue joyfully shouts, Sun, Swallower, why are you here? Assassins, protect her grace. Along with the sharp cry of a eunuch, a swarm of black-clad figures jumps over the walls. The scene instantly descends into chaos. that eagle dives straight for Consort Li's face. I reach for the bow, but Princess Lingyue snatches it a step ahead of me. As she knocks an arrow, she whispers, "It's my bird. If it dies, it'll be by my hand." Consort Li is surrounded by the crowd, but that eagle is way too fixated on her. Princess Lingyue's hand was trembling. She was afraid of hitting someone. The arrow was released too early in anticipation. Before the hawk even arrived, the arrow brushed past Consort Li's face, leaving a bloody scratch. Consort Li was so terrified she fell to the ground. That also indirectly widened the distance from the hawk. At the critical moment, I snatched the bow from Princess Lingyue's hand. With one shot, I aimed straight for the hawk's head. When I turned back, Princess Lingyue's face was already deathly pale. On the other side, Prince Yuan was also fighting an assassin, attacked from both front and back. Then someone suddenly came down at him from above. Hard to defend. I notched another arrow and saved him from a fatal blow. After that, my brother Yu Yunfei arrived with troops and captured all the assassins. The situation was brought under control, but the captured assassins all committed suicide in an instant. Afterwards, someone risked their life to accuse Prince Yuan of being the assassin, then killed themselves right after making the accusation. But no matter who the assassins were, since it happened in the Ning Prince's manor, everyone in the manor, especially Princess Lingyue, couldn't escape responsibility. Consort Li was traumatized, plagued by nightmares, even developing hysteria. The emperor was furious and threw Princess Consort Ning, Princess Lingyue, and the accused Prince Yuan all into prison. Ning Huaiyan is. He went to seek an audience at the Eastern Palace but was turned away by the Crown Prince. This was really a last resort. The matter with Yu Julia had just ended, and now the Crown Prince is scrambling everywhere to raise money to build a dam. Eager to make a name for himself by accomplishing something practical in front of the emperor, he doesn't have time to worry about Ning Huaiyan. Not only is Ning Huaiyan no help to the Crown Prince, he's actually helping his father, Prince Ding Yuan, snatch money from the national treasury to fund battles on the front lines. The Crown Prince already doesn't like him lately, so there's no way he'd plead his case to the emperor. At Ning Huaiyan's lowest point, he met me. I introduced him to a miracle doctor and suggested he start with Consort Li. At the same time, I disguised myself as a man and went to the Imperial prison to see Prince Yuan, giving him an item. After that, Prince Yuan requested an audience with His Majesty. Once he showed that item to His Majesty, the emperor released Prince Yuan. The miracle doctor cured Consort Li's illness. My father interceded with the court on behalf of Prince Ding Yuan's residents. He analyzed that arranging assassins on one's own turf to kill Consort Li and Prince Yuan would do more harm than good. He laid out the hardships Prince Ding Yuan faced in past wars. In the end, the emperor, for Prince Ding Yuan's sake, released the princess consort of Ding Yuan and Princess Lingyue. Everyone was punished. Only I was rewarded. His Majesty granted me 10,000 taels of gold to enrich my dowry when I marry. In every street and alley, everyone was talking about the chrysanthemum viewing event that day. Princess Lingyue snatched the bow and arrow, missed the shot, and even injured Consort Li. That's just ridiculous. Putting on airs with no skill at all. They say she was so quick. Even eldest Miss Yu couldn't beat her. If that had cost Consort Li her life, wouldn't that have doomed her whole family? Pity Prince Ding Yuan fights on the battlefield, while his wife and daughter are in the city enjoying the favor he bled for. Ning Huaiyan brought thank you gifts to visit and thank my father. He probably heard a lot of unpleasant talk along the way. His face didn't look good. He especially sought me out, standing far outside my room, loudly apologizing and giving thanks. He's now completely separated from the crown prince and plans to serve under my father. I counted how many are still left in Feather. The answer is, nearly none. The day before New Year's Eve, His Majesty ordered all the ministers to gather for a luncheon. As the banquet buzzed with clinking cups and chatter, His Majesty waved his hand and the music abruptly stopped. Today, there are many unmarried young men and women present. If anyone wishes to seek a match, I shall grant your request. Consort Li laughed and said, in my opinion, Your Majesty is trying to choose a husband for eldest Miss Yu. Let me guess, who caught Your Majesty's eye? Right now is when my name is really blowing up. As soon as I said that, a bunch of eligible young men in the crowd suddenly straightened up in their seats. Some of them might not even know who I am, probably never seen my face, but does that even matter? Power, fame, status, that's what we really care about. At that moment, the crown prince stepped forward. Your Majesty, your son asks you to bestow a marriage. The emperor's smile vanished instantly. His expression turned serious. Oh, who do you want? Minister Yu's eldest legitimate daughter, Yu Yunsheng. My father immediately stood up. Your Majesty, Though the Yu clan may not be worthy enough compared to the royal family, we are not to be trampled on so easily either. The crown prince once insulted my eldest daughter. As her father, I wept bitterly for her and have been sleepless for many days. And now your highness brings this up again. Don't you think that's reckless? The crown prince bowed toward my father. Minister Yu. The emperor took a deep breath and said, "Shut your mouth." The crown prince knelt, struggling to get the words out. The emperor gave a faint smile. Minister Yu, don't be angry. I understand your loyalty and your love for your daughter, but since the crown prince brought this up today, it must mean he sincerely regrets what he did. Minister, I too believe Yunsheng and the crown prince are a perfect match made in heaven. I lowered my gaze, but couldn't help sneering in my heart. Good thing I saw this coming and got ready in advance. Your Majesty, Ning Huaiyan also wishes to marry the eldest Miss Yu. Ning Huaiyan. No, the one I arranged isn't him. How could he? Your Majesty, back then in the case of Yu Julia, this minister nearly made a terrible mistake. If it hadn't been for the eldest Miss Yu's guidance, I would have been disgraced far and wide. I believe the eldest Miss Yu is my fated benefactor. I beg you to grant my wish. Well said. Actually, Yu Julia, disgraced far and wide. All of the crown prince's scandals were laid bare by him. Looks like he's completely disillusioned with the crown prince. Consortly smiled faintly. Oh, your Majesty, what should we do now? The heir of the Ning clan has never asked you for anything before. Your Majesty, at the chrysanthemum appreciation banquet, I was surrounded by assassins. It was the eldest Miss Yu who saved me from danger. She is my destined benefactor. My younger brother is already 34 and still unmarried, and he has sworn to marry no one but her. I took a light sip of tea. I only meant for him to block the crown prince's proposal. Didn't ask him to go that far. Consortly feigned shock. Oh my, Prince Yuan has kept himself pure all these years and broken so many girls' hearts, and now even he has fallen for the eldest Miss Yu. Your Majesty, why is she so popular? I'm getting jealous of her. That childlike pouty remark actually made His Majesty laugh. I secretly clicked my tongue in amazement. It's really something. His Majesty, whose expression was already on the verge of fury, had all his anger dispelled by just a few words from her. Sure enough, befriending her was the best decision I ever made. Otherwise, I might not have gotten out of today's mess in one piece. His Majesty laughed and said, "All right, you young folks handle your own business. Let Violet choose for herself. But Prince Yuan, aren't you the shameless one? Ha 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 ha." Prince Yuan laughed and said, "This concerns my lifelong happiness. Shamelessness isn't an option." The emperor pointed at me and said, "Violet, you choose. Do you want them, or someone else?" I stood up, walked before the emperor, and kowtowed. This humble girl favors Prince Yuan. Consortly covered her mouth and asked, "Oh, why? He's more than 10 years older than you." I obediently replied, "Prince Yuan doesn't fight with the world and lives a peaceful life. Plus, my father said older men are more caring." As soon as I finished, the whole hall burst into laughter along with His Majesty and Consortly. His Majesty said, "Good, Prince Yuan, did you hear why Violet chose you? If you don't treat her well in the future, I'll hold you accountable." Prince Yuan blushed and vowed, "I swear I will never let down my wife or my royal brother's expectations." Consortly laughed so hard her whole body shook. Never thought the always restrained Prince Yuan would straight up call her wife the moment he met the girl he liked. Your Majesty, look at him. Turns out he's a fake gentleman after all. I pretended to be shy and lowered my head, but out of the corner of my eye I saw the crown prince looking absolutely green. As for Ning Huaiyan, he looked genuinely downcast, kind of sincere. Actually, after the wedding date between me and Prince Yuan was set, preparations for my dowry and all that slowly got underway. Lately, the crown prince has been having huge fights with the ministers over how to prioritize the spending of silver. The ministers believe that Prince Ding Yuan is fighting on the front lines and absolutely needs the soldiers pay silver. Morale would suffer otherwise. The crown prince thinks that it's the soldiers' duty to fight for the country and they shouldn't be greedy for silver. The southern dam broke, and to prevent flooding next summer, fixing the dike should come first. They argued for a whole 10-day cycle. In the end, the frontline soldiers' pay got cut in half, and the rest was allocated to the crown prince for dike repairs. But the crown prince still cussed out the senior ministers in the court hall, including his own faction, because there just wasn't enough money, and he couldn't scrape together any more. The last hunting event of autumn, the crown prince cornered me in the forest, came to borrow money. That 10,000 taels of gold His Majesty rewarded you. Can you lend it to me for now? I'll pay you back. I dismounted and saluted. Crown Prince, The national treasury is tight. How could His Majesty possibly allocate gold and silver to me at this time? The Crown Prince didn't believe me. Violet, don't try to fool me. The late Emperor had a private treasury. Whenever he gave out rewards, it was always from his own stash. Violet, don't be stingy. For the sake of us growing up together, just lend me something to get through this. I sighed and said sincerely, His Majesty really hasn't given me anything yet. He dismounted too, got in my face, and threw the bow down in front of me. Don't lie to me. If you don't agree today, I'll take you right here. I pretended to be scared and lowered my head, but inside I was sneering coldly. Violet, I'm notorious now. Prince Ding Yuan's residence no longer backs me. All thanks to you. I don't blame you. As long as you lend me 10,000 taels of gold, once I take the throne, I'll never make things hard for the Yu clan. You've got it backward. If you want to take the throne, you can't do it without the Yu clan's support. You've got to actually take the throne first before you can use that as leverage against me. My voice took on a tearful tone, small and pitiful. Your Highness, this humble girl cannot give it to you. He suddenly lunged at me. The next second, an arrow pierced his left shoulder. Blood splattered all over my face. I gave him a victorious smile. The Crown Prince looked up and saw Prince Yuan. He shouted angrily, You useless prince, you dare shoot me. As the words fell, the Emperor led the group around from the side of the rock garden. Prince Yuan is innocent. I, the Emperor, granted him special permission. The Emperor's voice was thick with disappointment. Crown Prince, you've really opened my eyes. With that, he turned his horse around, completely losing interest in hunting. Consort Li is pregnant, and according to the Imperial physician, it's highly likely to be a prince. But the Crown Prince didn't feel any sense of crisis, because he knew His Majesty valued bloodlines from the principal wife the most. Back then, the late Emperor doted too much on his concubines, and almost gave Prince Yuan the throne meant for his own father. He believed that his own father would never do something like that. It was exactly this confidence that left him half a brain short, which makes me feel like I'm bullying him by dealing with him now. Just before dusk, the wedding procession led by Prince Yuan arrived, and my brother was firmly blocking the door. The noise out front was so loud, I could hear it from the inner room. With the red bridal veil over my head, I was carried into the bridal sedan by my brother. There were so many people crowding around, front and back. As he placed me in the sedan, I peeked out and saw my brother was already crying. Starting today, the Yu residence is no longer my home, just my maiden family. I couldn't help but cry too. The wedding procession grandly made its way toward the prince's manor. Halfway there, we were suddenly intercepted. The Crown Prince blocked the road with his men, and his laughing voice came through. Imperial uncle, your royal nephew greets you. Yu Yunsheng is also someone I fancy. Today I'm here to steal the bride. Let's duel. If you can beat me, I'll let you pass. The prince chuckled lightly. I used to go easy on you. Did you really think you could beat me? Judging from the tone, he really wants to throw down. I wiped away my tears, lifted the curtain, and called out for Zhou Yue. Go tell the prince to watch out for those trying to intercept my dowry from behind, especially the gold bestowed by His Majesty. I lifted a corner of the bridal curtain and saw Prince Yuan leaning down, listening to Zhou Yue speak, only to hear the Crown Prince laugh loudly. So Violet doesn't trust the prince. Seeing you two so lovey-dovey makes this ex-fiancé really sad. Huh, Your Highness, today is my wedding. I don't want to fight anyone. If you leave now, you'll still save some face. The Crown Prince immediately drew his sword. And what if I refuse? Prince Yuan was already caught in a dilemma. I'll fight you. Today, this heir will make sure eldest Miss Yu marries without a hitch. Since Ning Huiyan is here, can Princess Lingyue be far behind? I told the matchmaker beside me, go tell Prince Yuan, beware of sneak attacks. Prince Yuan leaned down to listen to the matchmaker's words, only to see an arrow flying straight at him. He drew his sword to block it, looked in the direction it came from, then turned back and said coldly, heir of the Ning clan, you'd better keep an eye on your sister. Princess Lingyue was on the pavilion loft not far away. Ning Huiyan shouted angrily, Lingyue, get down here. Princess Lingyue knocked an arrow, this time aiming in my direction. Brother, she's never been sincere with you. She's been using you from the start. Wake up. Ning Huiyan looked at me, then at his sister, trying to care for both sides. Lingyue, if you release that arrow, our whole family is done for. Think about father. He's still on the front lines. He shouted, torn between hope and despair. No, even if I don't shoot today, once the Ning family ends up in your hands, you'll be ruined by that woman sooner or later. I might as well finish her off now and beg His Majesty for forgiveness later. Even if Lingyue dies for it, it'll be worth it. Princess Lingyue's voice was already breaking into sobs, but I didn't believe she did it for her family. It was just jealousy between women, she just wouldn't admit it. Raised in Prince Ding Yuan's residence with all the love and spoiling, how could a princess like her understand the scheming between us? Maybe she envied me, but honestly, I kind of envied her too. The bow was fully drawn. Ning Huayan was nearly bursting with rage. She didn't lie to me. She didn't use me. Everything was of my own free will. Lingyue, stop now. Princess Lingyue froze, her fully drawn bow sagging. Her eyes brimmed with tears as she struggled not to cry, staring at Ning Huayan in disbelief. The next second, she let out a loud cry and drew her bow again, but suddenly, an arrow pierced straight through her right shoulder. The immense force knocked her off the pavilion loft. I couldn't help but gape. What terrifying power! Ning Huayan cried out in grief. Lingyue, he looked at the killer. Prince Yuan, why must you be so ruthless? She is just an immature little miss. Prince Yuan wore an uncharacteristically fierce expression. Have I been too gentle, making you think I'm easy to push around? Immature little miss. She's clearly a venomous woman out for blood. Now, you and the crown prince can come at me together. Let us finish this before the lucky hour so I can get back to my wedding. Ning Huayan dashed toward his sister. I struggled to look over and only saw a pool of red on the ground. The crown prince raised his sword and charged, while Prince Yuan took up his bow. Then the two began to fight. Jiu Yue had already snuck back to my side amidst the chaos. You go take care of Ning Huayan and Princess Lingyue. Lingyue absolutely cannot die. If she dies, Prince Ding Yuan definitely won't support my side. Prince Yuan looped his bow around the crown prince's neck and yanked him off the horse. He rode his horse backward, heading straight for my dowry. The crown prince was dragged along, his clothes torn to shreds, covered in scrapes, and completely passed out. The guards protecting the dowry and the crown prince's men had already started fighting. Prince Yuan tossed the unconscious crown prince into the crowd, and his men backed off, no longer daring to fight. At the same time, my brother arrived with troops and brought the Minister of Justice along. He bowed to the crown prince. Your Highness, my younger sister's wedding was disrupted by bandits and you were hurt. My sincerest apologies. I will arrest this group of bandits right away and have the Minister of Justice interrogate them personally. My brother's soldiers started laughing and casually hauled up the unconscious crown prince. My brother laughed heartily and waved. Next, I'll personally escort the prince and princess consort to their residence. The crown prince's attempt to steal the bride was ultimately chalked up as a merry event in Beijing. Young people acting impulsively for love. People even saw it as a romantic tale. My fame soared again, from 3 titled nobles proposing at the palace banquet to the crown prince stealing me at my wedding, and the heir protecting me. Some were envious, some resentful, and some feared I'd become a femme fatale. The emperor knew the reason the crown prince tried to steal the bride, but he never brought it up openly. No one said a word. Everyone knew what happens when you defy the royal dignity. Just look at you, Julia. But my guess is, the emperor's trust in the crown prince is hanging by a thread. If he keeps screwing up like this, once consort Li's child is born, he'll be stuck in that crown prince seat for good. That year, a major flood hit the water capital, and the court had already allocated relief funds early on. But what caught everyone off guard was the outbreak of riots in the water capital, and even a grassroots rebellion had started. Now, the riots are nearing Yanjing, and the rebel army's rallying cry is down with the foolish emperor. Self-reliance for the people. At this point, the emperor wasn't furious, he was heartbroken. To be emperor and end up like this, that's rare. He ordered a full investigation into the cause of the riots and rebellion, and in the end, it pointed straight to the crown prince. The disaster relief funds the court had allocated were skimmed and embezzled layer by layer, and most of it ended up in the crown prince's pocket. The crown prince was supposed to build dikes, but he still had to embezzle from that. The emperor was baffled. How could the crown prince's private treasury not even afford to build a damn dike? After digging deeper, my dad handed over evidence that 2 years ago the crown prince cut corners while building the dike, causing a collapse that killed workers. That whole thing had been suppressed by, but now, those from have either fallen or fled, and this buried scandal has finally resurfaced. The rebel army slammed the city gates with loud bangs, and all officials jointly submitted a petition requesting the crown prince be deposed. The crown prince was deposed, demoted to a commoner, and expelled from the capital city. The court did not recognize the identity of the rebellious peasants as the rebel army. After executing some as a show of force, they pacified the rest. The entire court raised funds, and I returned the 10,000 taels of gold the emperor had once bestowed upon me. When the crown prince was being escorted in shackles by 2 minor guards, I went to see it on purpose. Standing on the city tower, stroking my 5-month belly, I gave him a smile. He turned back and saw me, shouting, "Yu Yunsheng, you sure are something." Then, dragging the heavy chains, he rammed into the city wall. The guards pulled him up. He wasn't dead, so he had to keep moving. On the day Consort Li gave birth, news came from outside the city that the deposed crown prince had died of exhaustion. She gave birth to a princess. After the rebellion incident, the emperor's health took a serious downturn. Now, with the deposed crown prince's death and the birth of the princess, his condition worsened even more. Fortunately, my daughter was also born before the national mourning. When the emperor was critically ill, Prince Yuan was named the crown prince. He soon ascended the throne, and I became the empress. Later, Sang Ke gave me an indenture of servitude. I thought it was the one I gave him back in the Imperial prison, the one of the person who reported him. That person is a servant from Prince Ding Yuan's residence, but when I opened it, it turned out to be his indenture of servitude. As the ruler of a nation, how undignified is this? He chuckled lightly. You gave me your indenture to help me out of trouble. Now I give you mine, to raise you above all others. I tucked the indenture into my chest, and couldn't help but think of how the late emperor doted on Consort Li. I hope Sang Ke, taking me with him, can also stay just as devoted. Then it is settled. The indenture is in my hands, so you have to obey the master now. What are your orders now? I want to go stay at my parents' house for a few days. Sang Ke laughed heartily. Of course you can go back, but that doesn't count as an order for me. Give me another one. Looking at the way he was coaxing me, I hesitantly asked, "No concubines allowed." He suppressed his excitement and pulled me into his arms. All right, then I'll reluctantly agree. For the rest of my life, you'll be the only one in the harem. The furnishings at the Prime Minister's residence were still the same. When I opened the door in the morning, the courtyard was already covered with fallen pear blossoms. Someone was standing under the pear tree, wearing a Mamian skirt. Turning around suddenly, they were even holding a bough in their hand. I know you hate all the restrictions this world places on you. Come, today I'll ride with you. You can be yourself for a day, if not for the bone. Chilling wind. I'd think this was a dream. There is so much going on with the previous dynasty. Why did you come here? Sang Ke said disapprovingly. How many urgent matters can there really be when the nation is at peace and the people are content? Giving the emperor, a day off isn't too much to ask. I quickly changed clothes and left the city with him. The wildflowers almost dazzle the eyes. Only the shallow grass can hide a horse's hoof. When we arrived, we found Shin Olivia playing by the riverside with the two princesses, while Ning Huiyan brought over some firewood from not far away. We sat on the ground and even chatted a bit about how Princess Lingyue had been lately. Back then, we either clashed or used each other, but by now, it's all been let go. Some people, even if we never meet again, there's no need to hold on to it. Shin Olivia brought 2 ponies, and we taught the kids how to ride. They encouraged each other to run forward, and we followed behind without interrupting. Shin Olivia and I exchanged a smile. The road ahead, we'll walk it slowly together.